and good evening. I'm Melisa Idris. Welcome to Consider This. This is the show where we want you to consider and then reconsider what you know of the news of the day. Siti Bainun Ahmad Razali is the founder of the welfare home Rumah Bonda. She's currently serving a jail sentence of 12 years following her conviction of 2 counts of neglecting and abusing a teen with Down syndrome known as Bella. Now, while the trial captured the nation's attention, it should leave us thoroughly assessing our child protection policies and procedures, how we can do better, be better for Bella and children like her. Joining me on the show tonight is Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri. She is the Minister of Women, Family and Community Development. Thank you so much for joining me, Datuk Seri.
Thank you for having me here today.
Okay, so 13 months since the trial of Siti Bainun began, the court has now delivered a guilty verdict. I'm just wondering if we could talk a little bit about what this case has highlighted to you about the gaps in Malaysia's child protection system.
Well, thank you very much, because the case of Bella has really been on in the public, in the public for a long time. And that I was new when I came in, and I've heard about Siti Bainun. I've heard about Rumah Bonda, trying to get all these things together. So I've learned something new actually, and of course I'm sure the public is also learning a lot of things from this case. Now, the case of Bella, if I may, just to bring back the memory of who is Bella, because she is a girl with Down syndrome. Actually, she was found by our welfare department years ago. And during that time, she was only estimated to be 3 years old, and she's been kept under our welfare department. And then when she was placed under welfare department every year, they have to go to the court to seek order from the court for her to be placed still under the welfare department.
Because she's technically a ward of the state, right?
Yes, correct. So that's where during the pandemic, one day they went to court and they met this Siti Bainun, saw her, and then suddenly they have this, maybe some sort of that bonding suddenly came through. So that's where Siti Bainun applied to take care of her. So after that, our welfare department had to apply for cancellation order from the court. Cancellation order for the court to allow Siti Bainun, but of course they did some search on Siti Bainun, and she happened to be the person who was considered as fit and proper person. Or in Malay, we call it orang yang layak dan sesuai. This was in 2020. However, during pandemic, sometimes, as we said, the miracle, plays its role there. During pandemic in 2021, June 2021, Siti Bainun was hospitalized due to COVID-19. And of course, when she was hospitalized, of course, the other residents were placed in her house, was in the Rumah Bonda, were also, they also had to go through the swab test. During that time, swab test, and I think, I don't like to remember that, but this brings me to that memory. And Bella was discovered to have bruises, many severe bruises and burns on her body, and they discovered it on her chest. Actually, I saw the video. It was very sickening to see that, but this is what happened when I saw the video. Of course, I have to caution people that this should not be shown in the video. Yes. Because we should keep the privacy of the kid. But anyway, sometimes this sort of thing also help. Though I may not say that we support what had been done, but without that, perhaps people may not know. So maybe that's the reason why it was posted in the social media, and you can see that the body, and she was talking. What happened to her. Okay. So this is where what happened to Siti Bainun after that was on the 3rd of May. She had that decision from the court, sentenced her to imprisonment for 10 years from the date of conviction for the first offence. Was because she had 2 offences.
2 offences.
Then the other offence was 12 years.
Just served concurrently.
Yeah. And then imprisonment sentence will run concurrently. So that was what happened to the case. Well, you were asking whether whether we learn something from there.
Yes.
You want me to mention that straight away?
Well, okay. I do. Let's come back to that because I want to follow up on a couple of things that you said. So, one of the issues that arose out of the trial was the fact that maybe Bella would not have been abused if she had remained under the care of JKM, right? During the trial, there were opinions or differing opinions from JKM officers as to whether or not Siti Bainun should have been given guardianship in the first place, whether she should have been categorized as a fit and proper person, orang yang layak dan sesuai. Can we talk about how you've managed to address that? Because that was clearly an issue. How do we determine who's capable and fit and proper to take care of our most vulnerable children?
Well, of course, our ministry, we have done some research, okay? So we did this research and then we discovered this from the UK-based NGO named Lumos. That was done in 2013, whereby they believe that de-institutionalization is a concept of family-based care as an alternative to institutionalize the children in that kind of environment. So when we say de-institutionalization, wow, it's so mouthful.
Yeah, it's a big word.
That refers to leaving the child to a family environment. So this is why this is believed to be something which is better off rather than leaving them in a very regimented kind of situation whereby when you are enclosed in a house with with a mother, the
Macam
state,
orphanage, like a big orphanage. Okay.
But in this case, when they did that, they did that in the sense that when they managed to get somebody who is considered to be fit and proper, because Siti Bainun has shown that. And then that's why I said this Bella suddenly, in a way, fell for her because when they met, this from my own reading, okay? When they met, she seemed to have been okay with her. So Siti Bainun took her. When we consider fit and proper, she had applied for it. She wouldn't simply apply if she had not had any interest. Okay. In children.
All right. So she may have had the interest, but the JKM officers would have to approve her as a fit and proper person.
Yeah.
So what is that approval process like? Has it been made more stringent now that we know certain people who may not be fit and proper can slip through the cracks?
Yeah. Actually, during that time, it was just a start for us to use to try that principle, and then Siti Bainun happened to have a home for some other children as well. So that's for that reason, Bella was placed in with Siti Bainun. Unfortunately, she was supposed to take care and also given the trust to take care of Bella, but that did not happen, which resulted in the court case. And then, as I said, COVID-19 had something that really helped Bella as well. She, after the swab test, she was discovered to also was also positive COVID-19, and so were the others. So with that, it was discovered about what happened to her. So the others were all taken out from that place.
Can I ask you? Also, there were other children in
there were others.
Bella that were removed.
7 of them. So they were all removed immediately. This is where the power of the welfare officers is very strong, but they should not give more time. They should take action immediately, which they did.
Okay.
Where
were they placed? Back
they
into
were
JKM?
still under JKM, but different institutions. Like Bella was placed in Taman Sinar Harapan in Seremban, actually.
Okay, right. Can I ask you, so you point to the fact that COVID-19 was, in a way, a blessing in disguise discover what has happened to Bella. But I'm just wondering, was there no other way, rather than waiting for a pandemic to have discovered what was happening to Bella? Was there inaction from the ministry beforehand? Was there ways that we could have discovered the abuse that Bella was suffering rather than waiting for a COVID swab test? Are there people to check on children placed under guardianship?
You must remember that during that time, during COVID, people were not free to move around. So this was one of the hindrances from for the officers to really check. Of course, we do have.
There is a system?
There is a system. Every 3 months they have to visit, but of course without notice. Okay, this
surprise spot check.
It's all meant to be good. It's just that during that time, during COVID, this thing happened, and it's not easy for people to just move around during that time. You have to really apply for permission, and in this case, they cannot simply apply for permission. Had it not been for Siti Bainun being hospitalized, and then the swab test was required among them, they might not have found out about it.
Okay, can we zoom in on who does these checks and how well equipped are they to recognize signs of child abuse, signs of neglect and exploitation? They're referred to as child protectors, right?
They are protectors or pelindung.
Pelindung,
They're
okay,
protectors.
pelindung.
Yeah.
So let's talk about them. Who are they and what skills do they have?
Well, this is very interesting. Thank you for asking this question.
Okay.
You know why I'm saying that? Because I am asking for people who are working with us in this matter to be more equipped in terms of
child safety skills,
level of education.
Okay.
Because we do not have that many for that. Okay. So now this is what I'm pursuing. So by you asking me this is giving me opportunity. That's why I'm asking for jabatan kanak-kanak, okay? I'm asking for, I don't want to mix this with...
Okay, that's okay, but it does...
Because when you ask for that, but they are only based on their own experiences, okay? These child protectors and also the pelindo, they work based on what they have experienced, and their experience, they have vast experience, because they have to do a lot of things under the scope of their work. They have to cover about 10 laws. So they have to be the pelindung, they have to be the child protectors. They also have to be the ones, maybe to become nurse in the house as well. And they also have to lodge police report. They have to go and act on the ground immediately. They have to do a lot of things.
Are they overworked? That sounds like a lot of work.
Yes, I should say that they are overworked. This is what I'm fighting for as a new minister.
So how can we better support and give better resources to the JKM social workers, the pelindung, particularly if they are monitoring or checking in on children with complex backgrounds or needs, children from traumatic backgrounds. You know, Bella herself was the intersection of trauma and special needs.
Yes,
so how do we better equipped and resource these clearly overworked pelindung?
Well, of course, that's why I said the pelindung or the protector per se. They take seriously about what they are doing. If it is not within them to care for, to treat or anything happen, of course they work closely with the Ministry of Health. Actually, we work closely with quite a number of agencies, like the police, the Ministry of Health, and Education Ministry, and of course the NGOs, the public per se. We really need the public to work closely with us, so that, you know, especially if they go to school, the first people who saw what happened to the children is the teachers. So we need to work with them closely. So the carers, they really care for them, and they're doing a fantastic job. I've been on the ground visiting in Johor, in various parts of the states, just observing what happens to how the carers take care of them, and I could see that most of them, they are very, very serious in what they're doing, and they really care for the children.
Okay. But do you think there needs to be more proper training,
Oh yes.
Because
we are now, that's why we are suggesting
to professionalize this.
We are suggesting for them to be given certificate for the training that will be under our Institute Social Malaysia, to give them the proper training and grant them with the certificate. We are improving. Okay, that's why I said is we are thankful to the case of Bella, because not that we like it happen, because that's where we learn that, a lot of things that can be done. How we see the vacuum, within our own procedure. So SOPs have now been improved. For example, now each OYLS can only take care of 5 children, not more than that. So that's one of them.
So under Siti Bainun was 8, wasn't it?
7 or 8.
7, 8, okay. All right. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about how else we can improve our protection systems for children. Rumah Bonda was not registered. It wasn't registered with the welfare department, with the fire department, or the local council. How is it possible that an unregistered care center like that, welfare home like that, was being sent children to be cared for?
We did not know about it. The thing is, I also have to ask my staff, how did it happen? They had no knowledge about it first. So, but during the case, Siti Bainun applied for registration. She did apply for registration, but it was not approved yet. So that was what happened during that time.
So how can we tackle the issue of unregistered pusat jagaan?
Oh, we are now taking action against 1,028 centers now, which are not registered. You see what happened in Malaysia now. What is peculiar about application of all this? We will be the last to receive the application, but before that, they will make sure that they have to go to the local government. They have to go through the bomba, the fire brigade, and all those procedures. So if all those procedures did not get through, of course, we will not approve. So that is where...
So stuck at specific levels.
There. So, and every state, they don't have the same procedure, because especially when in Malaysia now, we have some states are under the different government, and another state under different government. Their procedure under different districts is different, because they have different bylaws under the local authorities. You see, like municipal council and the other local authorities, under different districts, they have different procedure. So this is a matter of our concern, and we have already brought it up. Of course, the local government ministry, it is not that easy for them, because not all states come under the same federal government. Some of them are under the opposition. So you see, a lot of things that we learn now with the change in politics, and then with the case of Bella, we learn a lot of things. Then because this is also brought even in the meetings with all the MBs, the Menteri Besar.
I'm quite curious to know, because you cited that research from Lumos about deinstitutionalizing children. But there needs to be an alternative to catch these children. And if the alternative is unregistered care homes, in small group homes, there is no essential check and balance. So then how do we ensure that unregistered care centers don't operate freely without the necessary safeguarding policies that we want to provide our children?
That's why now, as I said, the SOPs have been tightened, which actually our ministry, under the welfare department, they go for house visits now. They check, of course, unannounced, and then at least once in every 3 months. If they know that there are some of the centers who are already applying, and then they should not be operating. So this is what they are doing now. So checking on the ground whether these people are operating, if they operate, then therefore they have to issue them notice, telling them to just close for a while waiting for them to get the approvals from the other authorities.
What then happens to the children? Because
well,
the real victims are the children.
Well, that's the thing, you see. That's why we have another plan. Our way forward is that we are looking into data, apps. We are going to have some apps so that people will be able to also screen through who are the people who who they want to send the children to. So all those protectors, or the carers, especially the private ones, they have to be screened. But this is something that is in our plan.
Okay.
Okay. because we need to do something, but it cannot be done overnight because a lot of things have been done long ago, and then this is why we have already given instruction. That's why now for this year they are going after 1028 centers to make sure that they comply. Okay.
Okay. But there also needs to be support for parents and for children who do need to send their children to Pusat Jagaan.
They have to also be. But you see, for government servants, they shouldn't have any problem because every government complex they have the taska for
But it's
for the
those
children.
in the informal sector and that fall through the cracks.
Yes, that's it. But we hope that those in the especially the private sectors, they comply with whatever that is required by the ministry now. Of course, as I mentioned, they have already been starting before this, and then maybe before that enforcement was not really that strict, maybe because of the numbers of our officers that we do not have available. But now they have already had it, I should say they have organized the system. They do not care. We do our mapping. We have just started doing our mapping, knowing where all these locations are.
Okay.
Yeah, that is another improvement. So the mapping is done and trying to locate where all
to identify where they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you pointed to plans in the future. Clearly, there is a
That is the
direction,
direction,
you want to take this ministry in.
Yes.
The ministry is a big ministry.
It is.
And it looks at so much, but it is one of the most crucial ministries because it is essentially the most vulnerable aspects of populations of our
most
society.
emotional.
Yeah, so
Most emotional, I see.
talk to me about the children's department, because I think that is so key. And
Yes,
where
okay.
is the vision to take the children's department going forward?
Well, okay, it was recently approved for us to establish one. Of course, we have been required to use whatever amount of funds that is available, and to me, that is something that we need to work out. But I think MOF now has seen that we have already got another plan in terms of proposal for us to kick off very fast, because otherwise we are asked to just use the number of staff that are available, use the current funds which are available.
The current resources.
Yeah, and yet we do not have enough. But anyway, now we have another approach by, this is administrative, and most likely, inshallah, that MOF has been quite understanding now, and then it's just that we need to organize it well, because that has just been proposed to MOF, and they, in a way, in principle, they agree with our idea. You see, because we have been given allocation in terms of resources, the personnel, about 800 people, but we cannot recruit them immediately. But now, these are all on contract. So, but now we are going to do it on a yearly basis, maybe about 200 at a time, to cater for this.
So what is your vision then for this department? If you are given the resources, hopefully, what will this department do? How will it uphold children's rights in Malaysia?
If I have my way, let it be just the children's department. Because at the moment, those institutions, but the children department is not just about those who have been
the protection system.
When I say not just being neglected,
abused, neglected, or exploited.
Some of them they have been they are already with us because I'm 18 years old. So there are about quite a number of them that we want to segmentize them, because we also have other community development, the PDK, they call it Pusat Dalaman Community. We also have that also cater for children. So this is a mixture of those who are the OKUs, the handicapped. It's a mixture. So now it is time for us to segmentize or organize them well, under one house. What category would be there? Because otherwise they'll be mixed with so many other children. But anyway, in the case of, like with Bella's case, what we learn is that we don't want them just to be left in the house alone, but they will also be sent out to these community, like I mentioned about Pusat Dalaman community, a community center whereby there are other children as well, so that they can mix around, socialize. So this is another improvement. So in the case of the coming children's department, this is what we want to do, trying to get only on children matters to be under this particular department. And if possible for me, it should not even come under the women ministry. We should have a separate ministry.
For children?
But just to take care of children. You see, even women, because it's so big, women, family and community, the whole community from cradle to grave. You'll be seeing so many of them. And I think we should separate the department, so that the concentration will only be for children, and that's big.
But for now, we will have to make do with the children's department.
Yes, but we have to improve our SOPs.
Eventually, we'll get there to a new ministry. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you for having me here, and I thank you, and especially for those who have been helping us. I want to thank them for supporting us, giving us that moral support. Thank you very much.
That was my conversation with Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri, wrapping up this episode of Consider This. I'm Melisa Idris, signing off for the evening. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.